Hello and welcome to another book comparison video of a little series I think I might call Too Many Books, because I have too many books. Particularly, I have a lot of duplicates or different versions of the same title. And, well, my library is not organized by any means. So as much as I would love to give you a library tour, I figured this might be the next best thing. As I slowly but surely try to organize my library, I'll pull out the various editions of certain titles and showcase them to you in their own standalone video. So welcome, my friends, to Too Many Books. Today, I would like to talk to you about Unfettered, edited by Shawn Speman. I've got 4 editions to show you. One thing to note is that this is not a end-all video with Unfettered. I do not own all of the editions of Unfettered. So unfortunately, if you're looking for a full completionist method, you're not going to necessarily find it here. But I will showcase the editions that I do have, and I will talk about the editions that I don't. So first and foremost, let's start out with the ARC. This is the hardcover collector's ARC that was done for Unfettered, featuring the sketch artwork, the preliminary artwork by Todd Lockwood of what would eventually be the finalized artwork for Unfettered. If you're not familiar with Unfettered, it is a collection of 23 fantasy short stories from the masters of fantasy. I mean, look at that table of contents right there. That is incredible. It actually is the birthplace of Grimmoke Press. Grimmoke Press was founded by Shawn Speman after he was diagnosed with cancer and needing ways to help pay for his cancer treatments. And his friend, Terry Brooks, of whom he was the webmaster for, suggested doing a charity anthology. So he reached out to a bunch of his fantasy friends, and they all contributed short stories, and Unfettered was born. And thanks to Unfettered, Shawn Speman was able to pay for his medical bills. This is the hardcover ARC, limited to 250 copies, of which this is one of them. My copy is signed by a handful of people, including, I believe that is Brandon Sanderson, Peter Arulian, Patrick Rothfuss, Terry Brooks, Jacqueline Carey, Todd Lockwood, and Shawn Speman himself. So this is 250 copies, but this is not the only ARC out there. There was also a sampler ARC that was exclusive to Phoenix Comic-Con, which is even more rare than this one of 250 copies. The contents themselves is, as far as I can tell, very similar to what you're going to get in the regular trade edition. It doesn't have the forward yet, although it does have the introduction by Shawn Speman that would make it into the trade edition. It also doesn't have any of the chapter header images that Todd Lockwood would eventually contribute to the finished volume. So, I mean, overall, it's just a hardcover ARC. Nothing too fancy, but still very cool nonetheless, especially being one of 250 copies. Although, like I said, this is not technically the most elusive ARC out there. There's also a much slimmer hardcover volume from Phoenix Comic-Con, soon followed by the first trade edition of Unfettered. This is the first publication that actually made it to shelves back in 2013. It does have the finalized artwork by Todd Lockwood, featuring a fantasy version of Shawn Speman himself. It is cloth bound, much like the hardcover ARC. It does have the foil stamping for the breaking the chain, unfettering, making yourself unfettered and free-spirited. This one does have, well, this one is also signed, by the way, by Shawn Speman. Hooray! Differences in this trade edition is that you are going to have the forward by Patrick Rothfuss. The introduction by Shawn Speman is unchanged, but you do have little pieces of artwork by Todd Lockwood, introducing each of the short stories, which is very cool. There is actually a full-page piece, I believe, in the trade edition, or maybe it didn't. Maybe I'm a liar. I am a liar. It didn't make it into the trade edition, but you will see a piece, full-page piece for how Old Holly came to be in future editions done by Nate Taylor himself. I'm not going to show you all of the little illustrations because, I mean, hey, there's 23 of them. That's going to take a little while. And Who's got that kind of time? But there are little illustrations for every one of the short stories. One of the difficult things, if you're going to jump in and read Unfettered, I have actually not read this yet. Big surprise. But one thing you're going to learn through my Too Many Books series is that I have too many damn books. I am trying to organize and trying to get through said books, but unfortunately it is a losing battle, because if you're subscribed to my channel, you know that I have plenty of unboxing videos, and I keep adding to the pile. But one day I will read Unfettered, and I will do a book review for you. But I know when that time comes, I've heard the short stories are great, although some of them, keyword there being some, possibly all, take place within larger fantasy worlds by their respective fantasy authors. And because of that, if you're not familiar with the respective fantasy authors, then you might be a little bit left in the dust. So anyways, 2013 came along, and the trade edition for Unfettered was published. Fast forward a few years to 2015, and you get what would be the numbered edition. I don't have the numbered edition. That is another edition that is missing from my bookshelves. It is a very rare edition. One of 200 copies? Maybe it's only 100 copies. I could be mistaken. But this right here is the proof edition that was done at the same time or shortly after the numbered edition. It does feature larger stamping. Yeah, I should actually bring that back out. You can see the trade edition has the smaller stamp, and boom, larger stamp for this proof edition. It does have a lot of the same specs the numbered edition does have. The numbered edition featured a bonded leather binding. This is a cloth binding, but has the same stamping. Has a ribbon marker. Has an upgraded Smythe sewn binding as opposed to the glued binding. And I can't speak for the numbered edition, but I imagine it does. The proof edition has deckled page edges. But wait, there's more. Has upgraded end papers. It also has a new Stacy Pitt frontispiece, which we are going to see in a much larger version in just a moment. This, being the proof edition, is signed by everybody, including Naomi Novik, I believe, signed it as well. I don't think hers is a stamp. She doesn't sign anymore. But what it does have is this key stamp, because that's a proof copy. The numbered edition would have the numbered there, whereas the proof copy does not. This, just like the... this one does actually have an updated introduction by Shawn Speman. He's updated it for the numbered edition, including the signature page, leather-bound features, ribbon marker, protective slipcase, which is something the numbered edition also has that this proof copy does not. It does have an additional short story in the Unlocked Tome by Shawn Speman, bringing him to 2 short stories within it. And as I was mentioning, in that trade edition, it does have a full-color piece for How Old Holly Came to Be by Nate Taylor. As Nate Taylor went on to do plenty of Rothfuss illustrations over the years. Other than that, though, the contents are the same. Like I said, you're getting the same contents as the trade edition. However, it should be noted that the trade edition is no longer in print. At least that first trade edition is not. What it does have, however... Oh, does Terry Brooks... It just occurred to me, Terry Brooks, I think, has 2 short stories in here, too. Yeah, does he have Imaginary Friends and Al-Anon? I saw Al-Anon when I was flipping through there. Walker in the Shade of Al-Anon. So there's 2 Terry Brooks stories in here as well. Look at that. My dog's barking in the background. I apologize for that. So that first trade edition did go out of print, but a few years after that, in 2016, they did upgrade to a second edition for Unfettered. This features Stacy Pitt's artwork for the tome directly on the front, although the back still has the same back of Todd Lockwood's artwork. This one is still cloth bound, going back to the smaller logo. It's actually the same stamping that you're going to see from the first trade edition. This second edition does have the slightly nicer black end papers. This is signed by Shawn Speman, and this does have the updated introduction for even more Unfettered. You know, there we go, his March 2016 introduction. It does have, once again, that new short story with Shawn Speman's Unlocked Home. And just like in that original trade edition, it should note that each of the author's introductions, in a way, does have a spot for you to get it signed by the author. If you were to, be walking through a convention hall and you see Peter V. Brett, you could say, "Hey, Peter V. Brett, sign right there," and boom, you've got a spot for it. It's a nice little detail that I like. One thing I did not check on this: does this have Nate Taylor's artwork? It does. Okay, so it does maintain Nate Taylor's full-page artwork for how Old Holly came to be. But overall, it's a very nice collection production-wise. You can't go wrong with it. I think this second edition might actually be sold out as well now, which is a shame. But unfortunately, it is, 8 years old at this point, which is wild to think about. I had hopped on the Grim Oak train too late to have gotten a numbered edition. But I did beat the second edition. I was able to order the second edition directly once that was first announced. So it's wild to think that I have been supporting Grim Oak Press for over 8 years now. Way back in that day, it was there was plenty of wait time between the publications, between their announcements. They were still very much a small hobbyist press, if you will, where they would do a new title, 1 or 2 new titles a year. And let me tell you, this past year has been chaotic. They've been doing 3 to 4 a quarter. They have really picked up their game, which is difficult for me when I'm trying to support them as best I can. But unfortunately, I won't be able to support all of their titles. I'm going to have to pick and choose going forward. But that is life. That's just how it is. But once upon a time, I was out there trying to buy as many copies as I can. Last year, for the 10th anniversary, they actually released 2 new editions of Unfettered. It was a 10th anniversary edition featuring Todd Lockwood's original artwork in both a hardcover and a paperback. Both of those, the 10th anniversary editions, which should have the updated introduction and the additional short story, are still available directly from Grim Oak Press. Link in the description below to check those out. So anyways, this is my inaugural video for Too Many Books. I hope you guys liked it. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm going to keep, as I work my way through my collection, keep doing these videos and showcasing the various editions of certain titles. Like I said, it's not going to be an all-encompassing list, but I think it'll be fun to show them off, even if it's one by one. So thank you very much for watching. Please consider subscribing to the channel. I will be doing more of these videos, including the very next 2, which are going to be Unfettered 2 and Unfettered 3, as I knock the cords out of place. Just because it seems perfectly in line with Unfettered. It's actually kind of perfect because they did just announce the new title, which is Unavowed, I believe. The new collection that they're going to be doing soon, which is featuring more up-and-coming and indie art authors, which is very cool. So you have your masters of fantasy, and now you're going to have your indie authors. So anyways, thank you very much for watching. Check out Grim Oak Press, and we'll see you around next time.